Hello, and welcome to my channel, The Entrepreneurial Mindset. My name is Jay Berman. I am your host. And today's presentation is called Essential Marketing Concepts, Episode 5. If you want more detail about the concepts in this video, please buy my book, Is Your Business Idea a Good Investment?, which is available on Amazon.com. Kindle version only. Go to the Amazon search bar, select books, type in my name, Jay Berman, and scroll to my book to purchase. Thank you. And it's your way of supporting the channel. Thank you. So today's concepts I will cover are called the new product development and the product lifecycle. So when you are thinking about starting your own business, it's probably a good idea to understand the new product development process. It begins with defining what problem you're trying to solve. So in other words, what problem are you solving? What concern are you alleviating or addressing that is not currently available to customers in the marketplace, in the industry that you want to introduce your product? Or another way to think about it is, can you offer a better solution than customers currently are being offered? So this is where product innovation comes into play. In other words, how are you going to make your customers' lives better? In other words, what industry factors are you eliminating? What industry factors are you raising well above industry standards? Which industry factors are you creating that are not currently being offered by competitors? Once you've answered any of those questions, then you need to design the product, a prototype, so to speak. So how is your product's features and benefits going to be better than the current choices? Now, once you have a prototype, the next step you should undertake is called proof of concept. So before you even try to get your product onto store shelves in retail stores or even sold online, it might be a good idea just to arrange a focus group of, let's say, 20 to 25 of your potential customers. Maybe rent a studio or a meeting room at a hotel and have them test market your product. So in other words, present your prototype to your prospects and kind of gauge their willingness to buy. In this case, it might be a good idea to hire a focus group expert or a market researcher to help you. But in an hour or two, ask them questions about the product, what they like about it, what they dislike about it, what they would recommend changes to your prototype based on their feedback. So that might be extremely helpful to gauge on whether there's going to be a demand for your good or service, your product. Once you've ironed out all the kinks of the prototype, then you can launch the product with some sort of confidence that there is a market out there for your good or service. This would be called the introduction stage of the product life cycle. The product life cycle I'll be talking about in a minute or two. And then once you start getting sales, what is going to be your product assessment? In other words, is this going to be a good investment for you? Is this good or service, this business, going to be a good investment for you? So you need to have objectives. What exactly are your revenue objectives, units sold, number of customers, market share, net income, versus what your results are going to be or have been in the last 3 months or 6 months. Again, units sold, revenues, number of customers, market share, net income. Now, every product goes through a product life cycle. This is based on the Boston Consulting Group Matrix. To learn more about the Boston Consulting Group Matrix, please watch episode 1 of Essential Marketing Concepts. So the first thing that every new product, good or service goes through is called the introduction stage. In the Boston Consulting Group, that would be considered the question mark. In other words, you don't really know whether your product's going to be a hit or a failure. So in the introduction stage, be prepared for the marketing costs to be relatively high, because you're spending a lot of money on advertising, on promotion, in order to make your potential customers, your prospects, aware of your product. That's number one, and also persuade them to buy. Then if your product is a hit, it's going to go through what they call a growth stage. It's going to be a star. You're going to have rapid increase in sales. Then competitors start taking notice and introduce their own versions of your product or service, which is a strong possibility. Again, a lot of big companies have a competitive advantage because they have probably a research and development department. They have probably a marketing research department as well. So in this case, your demand's going to increase. So therefore, your production and distribution will also increase. Then your product might experience the maturity stage, which may take a few years. It becomes your cash cow. Sales start to level off due to competition and declining pool of new customers. You can increase sales by persuading rivals customers to switch brands, but that could be expensive because you have to offer coupons and discounts on sales on a regular basis. You probably need to invest on introducing product improvements to keep existing customers. And you may also need to expand your base by entering or expanding into other regions of the United States. So let's say, for example, you have a very strong customer base in the Northeast. You may want to consider expanding into the Southern region, the Midwest, the West, or the Pacific region. Or you may want to go overseas in other countries, like in Europe, Africa, Asia, and the world. The world's anywhere in the world that you think your customers might be willing to buy. And then the last stage is the decline stage. This is where products go from being a cash cow to perhaps a dog. And there are three main reasons why, products, goods, and services just kind of end. They die out. Number one, they become obsolete due to new technology. I mean, how many people? And also, customers' preferences change over time. They may change due to age. Things that you bought in your 20s, you're not going to buy when you're in your 60s. Or maybe you have very little money when you're younger, you're just starting out in your new career. But then as you get older, you have a more established career, you have a little bit more money, you have savings. Your preferences are going to change. And the product may just become unpopular as customers find better products that better suit their interests, their needs, their priorities. So these are the three main reasons why products become a dog, or they just end completely. It's because they become obsolete, people get, people's preferences change, or they're just better products that come into the marketplace. And that's all I have for today. Any questions or comments, please use the comments section below. Subscribe to my channel for more educational content about entrepreneurship, and thank you for watching.